My sister tried to steal my art career and my fiance, but karma had other plans, involving a very public gallery debacle. I never thought I'd be posting here, but I'm at my wit's end and I don't know who else to talk to. My life has been a whirlwind of artistic pursuit and personal challenges, but nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the spectacular implosion of my relationship with my sister, Sarah. For context, I'm 32, a professional artist specializing in large-scale abstract expressionism, and Sarah is 30, a self-proclaimed influencer who dabbles in whatever trend she thinks will get her attention. Our dynamic has always been fraught, to say the least. I was the quiet, artistic one, always covered in paint, while Sarah was the social butterfly, always perfectly put together, always the center of attention. My parents, bless their hearts, tried to be fair, but Sarah's theatrics often overshadowed my quieter achievements. This isn't a sob story, just laying the groundwork for the masterpiece of manipulation that was about to unfold. My story truly begins about 3 years ago when I met David. David is everything I never knew I needed: kind, supportive, brilliant, and incredibly handsome. He's a curator for a prestigious gallery in the city, which is how we met, actually. He saw my work at a local art fair and was instantly captivated. We started dating, and it felt like my life finally clicked into place. My art was thriving, I was in love, and for the first time, I felt truly seen and appreciated, not just for my art, but for me. Sarah, of course, had opinions. She found David boring and too serious, always making veiled comments about how I was settling. I brushed it off, knowing she was just jealous that I had found genuine happiness and stability. She had a string of short-lived relationships, always chasing the next big thing, and I figured this was just another manifestation of her insecurity. A year into our relationship, David proposed. It was perfect. A quiet evening in my studio, surrounded by my canvases, with candlelight and soft music. I said yes, of course, tears streaming down my face. We were ecstatic. We started planning our wedding, a small, intimate affair with close friends and family, and I envisioned a future filled with art, love, and quiet domesticity. Sarah's reaction to our engagement was interesting. She gave us a forced smile, congratulated us through gritted teeth, and then immediately launched into how her hypothetical wedding would be so much grander and more extravagant. It was classic Sarah, making everything about herself. I tried to ignore it, focusing on the joy of my engagement. Around this time, I was also preparing for the biggest exhibition of my career. David had secured me a solo show at his gallery, a massive opportunity that artists dream of. I had been working on this series of paintings for years, pouring my heart and soul into every brushstroke. The theme was Whispers of the Unseen, exploring the hidden emotions and energies that permeate our lives. I was completely consumed by it, spending countless hours in my studio, often late into the night. Sarah, sensing an opportunity for attention, suddenly developed an interest in my art. She started visiting my studio more frequently, offering unsolicited advice, and even taking photos of my works in progress to post on her social media, often without tagging me or giving proper credit. I found it annoying but harmless. She always did this, latched onto whatever I was doing to make it about her. I figured it was just another phase, and once the exhibition was over, she'd move on to something new. Then things started to get weird. My studio, which was usually a sanctuary of creative chaos, started feeling off. Things would be slightly moved, a tube of paint would be in the wrong place, a brush I distinctly remembered cleaning would be dirty. I initially chalked it up to my own disorganization or the general messiness of a working artist. But then I noticed subtle changes in my canvases. A stroke here that wasn't mine, a color subtly altered. It was maddening, like a ghost was tampering with my work. I started feeling paranoid, wondering if I was losing my mind from the pressure of the exhibition. David noticed my stress and tried to reassure me, suggesting I was just overthinking things. He was incredibly supportive, always there to listen and offer encouragement. The closer we got to the exhibition date, the more intense the strange occurrences became. One morning, I walked into my studio to find one of my most intricate paintings, a large triptych that had taken months to complete, subtly but noticeably altered. It wasn't ruined, not entirely, but it was different. A certain emotional depth was gone, replaced by a more superficial, almost decorative quality. It was like someone had tried to improve it, but in doing so, had stripped it of its essence. I was devastated. I confronted David, almost in tears, convinced someone was sabotaging me. He suggested we install a small, discreet security camera in the studio, just to be safe. I agreed, feeling a knot of dread tighten in my stomach. The camera footage was a punch to the gut. It wasn't a ghost. It was Sarah. Every few nights, she would sneak into my studio, let herself in with a spare key she must have copied at some point, and work on my paintings. Not just touching them, but actively altering them, adding her own touches, trying to improve what she clearly thought was lacking. I watched in horror as she carefully, almost lovingly, added flourishes and details that were so distinctly her aesthetic, bright, pop art inspired, completely at odds with my subdued, introspective style. It was a bizarre, almost surreal form of artistic vandalism. But the real kicker came a few days later, in another segment of the footage. I saw Sarah talking to David. They were standing by my largest canvas, a work I was particularly proud of, and Sarah was gesturing animatedly, explaining her vision for the piece. David was listening, politely, but with a bewildered expression. As I watched, Sarah leaned in and kissed David. It was a quick, furtive kiss, but undeniable. My heart shattered that I didn't confront them immediately. I was too numb, too shocked. I needed to process everything. My sister, my own flesh and blood, was not only sabotaging my life's work but also trying to steal the man I loved. The betrayal was so profound, so utterly despicable, that I felt physically ill. I replayed the footage countless times, searching for any other signs, any indication that David was complicit. But his reactions always seemed confused, almost uncomfortable. He'd pull away, his face a mask of polite awkwardness. It wasn't a mutual flirtation, it was Sarah's relentless pursuit and David's general inability to be rude or confrontational. That realization, while not excusing the kiss entirely, at least helped me differentiate between Sarah's malicious intent and David's potential naivety. The exhibition opening was fast approaching. I was a wreck. My art felt tainted, my relationship was hanging by a thread, and my sister was a snake in the grass. I knew I couldn't let her get away with it, but I also didn't want to cause a massive scene and ruin my own exhibition. I needed a plan, something that would expose Sarah for what she was, without destroying my own reputation in the process. I confided in my closest friend, Maria, another artist who had witnessed Sarah's self-serving antics many times before. Maria was furious. She helped me formulate a strategy. The plan was simple, yet elegant. The exhibition featured a digital catalog accessible via QR codes next to each painting, offering insights into my creative process, inspirations, and the evolution of each piece. Maria, being a tech-savvy wizard, helped me create a hidden link within the digital catalog, specifically for one of the most altered paintings. This link, when clicked, would play a short, edited clip of Sarah tampering with that very painting, her voice subtly audible explaining her improvements. We also compiled a folder of other damning evidence, screenshots of Sarah's social media posts where she subtly claimed credit for aspects of my work, her artistic advice recorded on my studio microphone, and the footage of her kissing David, carefully edited to show his discomfort and attempts to pull away. This last part was crucial for David's reputation and for my own sanity. The opening night of the exhibition was a whirlwind of emotions. The gallery was packed. Art critics, collectors, friends, and family were all there. David was by my side, looking nervous but supportive. Sarah was, predictably, basking in the glow of my success, flitting around, introducing herself to important figures, and generally acting like she was the co-creator of the entire show. She was dressed impeccably, a stark contrast to my paint-splattered jeans and slightly frayed artist smock. I watched her, a cold knot of resolve in my stomach. When the time came for my artist's talk, I took the stage, my heart pounding. I spoke about my journey, my inspirations, and the deep emotional connection I had with each piece. I walked the audience through the gallery, stopping at various paintings, explaining their narratives. When I reached the triptych that Sarah had altered the most significantly, I paused. I looked directly at Sarah, who was beaming in the front row, clearly anticipating some kind of public praise. "This piece," I began, my voice clear and steady despite the tremor in my hands, "is particularly meaningful to me. It represents the fragility of creation, the way an artist's vision can be influenced, or even altered, by external forces." I then instructed everyone to scan the QR code next to the painting. A ripple of phones came out. I took a deep breath. The silence in the gallery was deafening as people watched the short clip. The gasps were audible. Sarah's face, initially a mask of smug satisfaction, slowly contorted into a mixture of confusion, then horror, and finally, abject panic. Her carefully constructed facade crumbled before everyone's eyes. The clip wasn't overtly accusatory, but it showed her, clearly, adding strokes, making comments about fixing my dull composition. It was enough. A buzz erupted in the room. Whispers turned into louder exclamations. Sarah, seeing her carefully curated image shatter, tried to escape, but the crowd was too dense. My parents, who were standing nearby, looked absolutely mortified. My mother, usually Sarah's biggest offender, had her hand clamped over her mouth, her eyes wide with disbelief. I then addressed the room again, my voice stronger now. Art is a deeply personal expression, I said, and sometimes personal boundaries are crossed in the pursuit of something else. This exhibition is not just about my art, but about the integrity of creation. I then subtly gestured to David, who looked equally shell-shocked by the public display. I also want to acknowledge the immense support I've received from my fiancé, David, who has stood by me through every challenge, even when faced with unwarranted advances. That was the signal for Maria. From the back of the room, she discreetly projected a series of images onto a large, blank wall behind me. The first image was a collage of Sarah's social media posts, highlighting her subtly misleading captions and lack of credit. The second was the footage of Sarah attempting to kiss David, juxtaposed with his clear discomfort and efforts to pull away. The audience gasped again, this time with a collective "oh." Sarah, by this point, was bright red, tears streaming down her face. She started to shout incoherent accusations, but her voice was drowned out by the rising murmur of the crowd. The gallery director, a stern but fair woman, quickly moved to escort Sarah out. As she was being led away, Sarah screamed, "You're ruining my life. You're just jealous of me." I just watched her go, a sense of weary vindication washing over me. The rest of the evening was a blur. People came up to me, offering their congratulations and expressing their disgust at Sarah's actions. Many artists shared their own stories of similar betrayals or attempts at artistic theft. David, once the initial shock wore off, pulled me into a tight embrace. "I am so sorry," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I had no idea it was this bad. I thought she was just being Sarah." I told him I knew, and I believed him. We talked it out later that night, and he explained how Sarah had been relentlessly pursuing him for months, trying to undermine our relationship, painting me as too intense and obsessed with my work. He had tried to brush her off politely, not wanting to cause family drama, but he genuinely had no romantic interest in her. He also expressed genuine shock and horror at her tampering with my paintings. His integrity as a curator was on the line, and he understood the gravity of her actions. My parents were devastated. They confronted Sarah later that night, and the argument was apparently epic. For the first time, they saw Sarah for who she truly was, not the charming, vivacious daughter they had always indulged, but a manipulative, insecure individual willing to betray her own sister for fleeting attention. The public humiliation at the gallery, witnessed by so many influential people, was a blow to Sarah's influencer career that she never fully recovered from. Her followers, many of whom were genuine art enthusiasts, quickly turned on her, criticizing her lack of originality and blatant plagiarism. The online backlash was swift and brutal. In the aftermath, I received an overwhelming outpouring of support from the art community. The story of my sister's betrayal and my unconventional reveal spread like wildfire, adding a layer of dramatic intrigue to my exhibition. My art, ironically, gained even more recognition. Critics praised not only my talent but also my courage and integrity. The exhibition was a massive success, exceeding all expectations. My paintings sold out, and I received several commissions for future projects. My relationship with Sarah is, predictably, non-existent. She tried to apologize, but her apologies were always laced with self-pity and blame, never genuine remorse. She accused me of ruining her life and being mean-spirited. I told her that she ruined her own life, and I was simply exposing the truth. Our parents are still grappling with the fallout, but they are slowly coming to terms with the reality of Sarah's character. They've been incredibly supportive of me, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like they truly understand and appreciate my struggles and achievements. David and I are stronger than ever. The incident, while incredibly painful, brought us closer. It tested our trust and our commitment, and we emerged from it with an even deeper understanding and respect for each other. We are still planning our wedding, and it will be everything I always dreamed of: intimate, genuine, and filled with love, free from a shadow of my sister's jealousy and manipulation. Sometimes, the greatest betrayals lead to the most profound triumphs. I lost a sister that day, but I found my voice, solidified my career, and strengthened the love I share with my fiancé. It was a painful lesson, but one that ultimately made me a stronger artist and a more resilient person. I never thought I'd be grateful for such a traumatic experience, but looking back, it truly was a catalyst for positive change in my life. And for that, I am, strangely, thankful.